The decline of South Korean tourists in the United States reveals how fragile the American tourism economy is, where every lost traveler means lost jobs, closed restaurants, and weakened trust. Stricter visa rules, negative media images, and policy missteps are pushing Koreans and potentially other nations toward friendlier destinations like Japan, Canada, and Europe. Unless the US reopens its doors with easier visas, positive communication, and stronger partnerships with local businesses, it risks not just losing billions in tourism revenue, but also damaging its global reputation and the livelihoods of ordinary Americans. South Korea used to be one of the most popular US tourist destinations. Families visited Los Angeles, Hawaii, and Las Vegas. They were notorious for their extravagant spending, with each person spending an average of more than $4,000. One gang might spend $200,000 in a matter of days. For local businesses, that money was essential. But recently, something has changed. The number of Korean arrivals has decreased. Restaurants in Koreatown are reporting empty tables. Reservations at Las Vegas casinos that once hosted large Korean groups are now at hotels in Hawaii that relied on these tourists, which are struggling to fill their rooms. Why? One story was the spark. At a Hyundai LG factory in the United States, a group of Korean workers was suddenly deported. Local media in Korea covered it extensively. Koreans began to question whether their dignity, not crime, was safe in America. Surveys showed a drop in confidence in friends. Families cancelled trips. Travel agents reported that groups were becoming smaller. Several factories were involved. The true problem was bureaucracy. Koreans have to deal with a slow, expensive, and complicated process. It sends a subliminal but powerful message: you are not easily accepted. However, access to Europe and Southeast Asia is much simpler for Koreans. There, the greeting is more cordial. Of course, many choose those places instead. This is where the domino effect begins. When there are fewer tourists, restaurants lay off employees. Hotels delay hiring. Taxi and Uber drivers lose money. Shops are selling fewer goods. Furthermore, attitude matters more than numbers. When tourists leave a city, it feels deserted. The impact spreads. Former American students are reluctant. Some retirees who had hoped to visit America choose to go abroad instead. Even business travelers wonder if the risk is worth it. America's image as an open and friendly nation is deteriorating. It's not limited to Korea either. Travelers from Brazil, Mexico, India, and Canada are experiencing similar frustrations. Complaints concerning complex regulations, protracted immigration delays, and unfriendly treatment at airports are growing. America's tourism advantage is eroding. There is more to traveling than just unwinding. It's called soft power. Each visitor acts as an unofficial representative. They bring stories home, good or bad. You become resentful after a humiliating experience. The United States may lose its financial and political clout. The numbers tell the story. A single tourist spends thousands. When you multiply that by millions, the magnitude becomes clear. Now, that flow is decreasing. Finding a solution is not impossible. Simplify the visa application procedure. Cut back on unnecessary fees. Treat visitors with respect. Launch positive advertising campaigns that highlight safety and opportunity. Encourage cultural exchanges, student travel, and family visits. Above all, listen. Listen to what employees and visitors have to say. Empty tables and quiet streets are indicators. Once travelers have selected a different location, it is much more difficult to win them back. In the end, the issue extends beyond travel. It has to do with a country's perspective on relationships. Money is not as important as dignity. People remember how they were treated. America's once strong ambition may turn out to be hollow if it forgets this. Dreams are fragile. They must be looked after. Furthermore, as the Korean story demonstrates, even the strongest ties can weaken if they are not valued. Even though it was disguised as standard immigration enforcement in the US, this was humiliation for the citizens of a close ally, for Koreans watching from Seoul. The initial outcomes were mistrust and fear. Planning a trip, families began to wonder, if Korean workers are treated this way, how will Korean tourists be treated? Overnight, many tickets were cancelled, and flights were diverted to more hospitable destinations, such as Sydney, Tokyo, or Paris. This viewpoint has caused a significant financial loss. The average Korean visitor to the United States spends over $4,000. A single group of 50 tourists may spend up to $200,000 on lodging, food, transportation, and shopping. When you multiply that by the thousands of cancelled trips, local economies lose millions of dollars. The money might have gone towards school tuition, small business ventures, or community development projects. Instead, it disappears into other countries' economies. However, the damage extends beyond financial gain. Trust is the main currency of tourism. Images of workers in handcuffs tarnished South Koreans' impression of America as a friendly nation. About 60% of respondents to a survey conducted in South Korea said they were unhappy with how the US handled the situation. When that confidence fades, people would rather go somewhere else. The visa procedure made matters worse. Korean visitors began to experience lengthy delays, a ton of paperwork, and additional fees. Some applicants complained that they had to wait months for interview slots, while others paid extra service fees that seemed like hidden taxes. For a family that is already paying for hotels and flights, an additional $50 visa fee might not seem like much, but when the process itself feels disrespectful, the emotional cost outweighs the financial one. Tourists go where they feel welcome, rather than where they are penalized before they even arrive. The effect of this pattern is cascading. When fewer tourists arrive, restaurants that once thrived on foreign customers cut back on their hours or shut down entirely. Workers at hotels lose their jobs. Ride-sharing drivers earn less money. There aren't many gift shops nearby. For small business owners, each missing tourist is more than just a restaurant seat. It's a missed opportunity, a missed rent payment, or a missed paycheck. The impact of the dearth of Korean tourists goes far beyond Korean neighborhoods. Additionally, tourists from Mexico, Brazil, India, and other countries are expressing frustration. Due to long visa lines, negative media coverage, and images of harsh immigration crackdowns, people all over the world feel that the United States is becoming less welcoming. For a nation that has long prided itself on its diversity and openness, it is a risky shift. For tourism, soft power is more significant than monetary gain. Every guest, paradoxically, South Korea and the United States remain close allies in terms of trade, defense, and technology with another country. Public opinion can be influenced more effectively by a single news image, a visa officer's decision, or an encounter with airport security than by a presidential speech. The first step is to streamline the visa application procedure. Faster, more transparent, and less costly procedures communicate the importance of visitors. Second, the United States must make a concerted effort to improve its standing abroad by exhibiting kindness and respect in the media, in cross-cultural exchanges, and through travel programs. Third, offering joint travel packages, like airline-hotel alliances or joint cultural events between the US and Korea, can help rekindle interest. Finally, it's critical to communicate consistently that the United States sees its partners' citizens as guests, not suspects, to restore trust. The broader conclusion is that the travel and tourism industry is a sensitive one. Along with that, it also depends on dignity, emotion, and perception. Years of losing the trust of Korean tourists means more to America than simply losing business from one country. It means losing the belief that travel to the United States is the greatest option in the world. If the reputation continues to decline, the streets of New York, the casinos of Las Vegas, and the beaches of Hawaii may appear even more desolate. The losses will be quantified in terms of missed opportunities for interpersonal relationships in addition to monetary losses. In the end, values are just as important as economics or policy. Tourism thrives in environments of mutual respect, trust, and admiration. Without them, companies struggle, numbers decline, and reputations deteriorate. America can still make a difference, but it will require bravery, empathy, and decisive action. Otherwise, the story of the Korean tourists who went missing could be the beginning of a much larger global phenomenon. The shrinking flow of South Korean tourists to the United States is not just about empty restaurants or hotels. It symbolizes a deeper loss of trust, economic opportunities, and America's image as a welcoming destination. Unless barriers like strict visas and negative perceptions are removed, the US risks turning its land of opportunity into empty streets and deserted dining tables. If you found this content insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us reach more people and continue creating informative content just for you. By engaging with our channel, you'll stay updated on the latest trends, stories, and in-depth analyses that matter most. Join our growing community. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and be the first to know when we release new episodes. Thank you for watching and supporting our journey.